28 November. In Oyo State, NDLEA officers on patrol along Lagos-Ibadan Expressway on Saturday, 29 November, nabbed a suspect, Wasiu Karim, with 8,000 ampoules of pentazocine injection, 590 bottles of codeine syrup, 1,500 pills of cocodamol, and 9,900 capsules of tramadol. No fewer than 7 suspects were arrested on Monday, 24th November, when NDLEA operatives raided the Ipe forest in Akoko southeast area of Ondo State, where they recovered 3,077 kilograms of skunk, a strain of cannabis. Those arrested include John Ede Ndubisi, Ikena Abe, Eze Chukuma, Maduabuchi Odo, Naji Chudubem, and George Okowor. While Sylvester Anthony was arrested along Okene-Lokoja Highway, Kogi State, conveying 649 kilograms skunk in a truck on Wednesday, 26 November, NDLEA officers at the Seme Special Area Command on Friday, 28 November, raided a warehouse at Ashipa, Seme Border Area, Badagry, Lagos, where they arrested a suspect, Abubakar Shuaibu, with 478 blocks of skunk weighing 243.5 kilograms. In Kano, Salha Al-Hassan was arrested along Zaria Kano Road with 137 kilograms skunk on Monday, 24th November, while 3 suspects, God's Power Appeal, Ernest Upong, and Godday Chukudi, were nabbed on Wednesday, 26th November, with 322 blocks of skunk weighing 209 kilograms at Fanshanu Village, Toro Local Government Area, Bauchi State. A black Toyota Highlander Jeep marked ABJ 533EA, used in conveying the consignment, was also recovered from them. A suspect, John Ekojo, was arrested with 210.15 kilograms skunk along Abuja-Jos Highway on Saturday, 29th November, while a couple, Abdullahi Abubakar and Jamila Abdullahi, were nabbed along Abuja-Kaduna Highway with 725 rounds of 7.62 millimeter live ammunition concealed in a sack of maize, just as another suspect, Awal Sabiu, was caught with 400 rounds of 7.62 millimeter live ammunition at Abuja-Kaduna tollgate on Friday, 28 November. While commending the officers and men of the Directorate of Operations and General Investigation, DOGI, Lagos, Ondo, Oyo, Kogi, Kaduna, Kano, Seme, and Bauchi commands for the various successful operations, Chairman, Chief Executive Officer of NDLEA, Brigadier General Mohammed Buba Mara, retired, enjoin them and their colleagues across the country to continue with the ongoing balanced approach to the drug control efforts of the agency. That's it on arrests and seizures. Next is the update on some of the other activities across the country for the week, brought to you by my colleague, Peace.
Thank you, Neta. My name is Peace, the pastor, and here are some of the weather activities across the country for the week. The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, is leading a decisive transformation in Nigeria's fight against substance abuse through its visionary War Against Drug Abuse WADA initiative. What started as a basic sensitization effort has evolved into a nationwide movement that brings together government institutions, civil society organizations, families, and ordinary citizens in a united stand against drug abuse. Moving beyond the confines of traditional law enforcement, WADA places strong emphasis on prevention, rehabilitation, and active community participation, affirming that protecting the nation from illicit substances is a collective responsibility. By taking its message into schools, markets, motor parks, places of worship, and other daily spaces, NDLEA is weaving awareness into the heart of Nigerian society. This people-focused approach replaces fear with understanding, counters misinformation with truth, and turns stigma into compassion, encouraging Nigerians to choose a healthier path and work toward work together to build a safer, more supportive nation. In this regard, on Monday, 24th November 2025, the Semi-Special Area Command of NDLEA paid a WADA advocacy visit to His Royal Highness, to His Royal Majesty, the Akran of Badagry and his Council of Chiefs in Badagry, Lagos State. The visit centered on strengthening community partnerships in the fight against drug abuse, with officers emphasizing the crucial role of traditional institutions in promoting a drug-free society and guiding youth toward positive behavior. Similarly, the Enugu State Command of NDLEA conducted an impactful WADA enlightenment lecture for students and staff of Legacy International College in Nsukka. The session educated participants on the dangers of substance abuse, highlighting its harmful effect on health, character, and educational aspirations. Students were encouraged to uphold discipline and make choices that support personal development. Meanwhile, the Tinkan Strategic Command organized a WADA sensitization lecture for dock workers and clearing agents at the Tinkan Port, Lagos. Officers educated participants on the risk associated with drug misuse within the maritime sector, emphasizing the importance of vigilance, responsibility, and adherence to safe workplace practices. On Tuesday, 25th November 2025, the Kano State Strategic Command delivered a WADA sensitization lecture to students and staff of Government Junior Technical School, Kofar Kudu. The lecture addressed the negative consequences of drug abuse on mental health, discipline, and academic performance. Officers encouraged students to stay focused, embrace positive values, and remain committed to a productive future. Additionally, the Ebonyi State Command delivered a WADA advocacy lecture to students and staff of Bright Eyes International School, Abakaliki. The engagement underscored the dangers of substance abuse and reminded learners of the importance of integrity, self-control, and informed decision-making as tools for resisting peer pressure. On Wednesday, 26 November 2025, the Lagos State Strategic Command conducted a WADA sensitization lecture for students and staff of Sitor School, Ikorodu. Officers enlightened participants on the physical and psychological risk of drug misuse and urged them to choose healthy habits that support both academic excellence and personal well-being. On Thursday, 27th November, the Anambra State Command delivered a WADA enlightenment lecture to students and staff of Good Child College, Enugu. The session focused on the harmful effects of substance abuse and encouraged learners to cultivate discipline, strong moral values, and a commitment to success. Concluding the week's advocacy effort, the Idiroku Special Area Command delivered a WADA sensitization lecture to students and staff of Forward Group of Schools at Feriko, Idiroku, Ogun State. Officers highlighted the dangers of drug misuse and urged students to make wise choices that protect their future and contribute to national anti-drug efforts.
And the segment now, let's remind ourselves about some of the rules guiding our process of engagement. Please note that when we are previewed to be on the speakers, can ensure that you remain muted until after the presentation by our guest speaker, who I have seen. I expect her to move over to the speaker's corner now. Then please ensure that we remain muted if we approve it to be on the speaker's corner until after the presentation by our guest speaker, and then we'll start inviting individuals to unmute themselves and make their contributions or ask questions as the case may be. Let's continue to do this so that we will out of our control here. That's us as a result of the service provider. But bless God, we are back. All right, let's quickly get to the nitty gritty of the talk today. Quickly, I would like to start by introducing our guest speaker who is already on the speaker's corner now, and thereafter she will proceed with her presentation, and then we'll begin to exchange ideas, make contributions, and even interrogate her presentation. All right, we have as our guest speaker today no other person than Ambassador Mrs. Kevin Shobi Blessing Abosede, who is a public servant, development communicator, and mental health advocate, whose work is rooted in protecting the dignity, safety, and emotional well-being of women, girls, and young people. She is the founder of You Hope Initiative and co-founder of the Citizens Alive for Peace Initiative, that's CAPIN, two organizations dedicated to social impact, youth support, public health awareness, and peace building. She is a committed humanitarian volunteer, a brand writer and practitioner who works closely with individuals navigating trauma, depression, and emotional distress. She provides counseling and therapy support to adolescents aged 13 to 18, as well as adults seeking guidance, clarity, and healing. She works with the co-lead Children Tech Education Foundation as the head of volunteer and grant writing, where she helps equip children in underserved communities with essential tech skills and mobilizing support to improve their living and learning conditions, such as securing solar power installations for orphanages without reliable electricity. She also partners feeder and map team to support girls and women experiencing sexual abuse, harassment, exploitation, and all forms of gender-based violence. She is the founder of Being You with B, a mental health and inspiration-based community for individuals going through difficult seasons in life. Being You with B hosts an annual program titled She Thrives, a safe space and conference that brings women together to heal, learn, and grow. At this event, participants are encouraged to open up, embrace self-care, understand their rights, and share real and raw life experiences supported by professional psychologists, counselors, lawyers, and other mental health practitioners. Ambassador Blessing Abosede is a strong voice for survivors who champions the fight against all forms of violence against women and girls, including digital violence, cyberbullying, image-based abuse, and online harm. Her advocacy promotes safer digital spaces, stronger protections, and trauma-informed responses for affected individuals. Beyond her professional role, she is a mother, a sister, a wife, and a friend, a woman who lives with empathy, courage, and conviction. She brings warmth, clarity, and lived experience into every room she enters, making her a trusted voice in conversations on gender, mental health, and public health, as well as emotional well-being. Please join me in welcoming Mrs. Blessing Abosede Calvin Shobi as I invite her to unmute herself. Now I will listen to her. For another 20 minutes, discuss our topic for today, intentional parenting and saving the girl child from the scourge of illicit substances. It's our pleasure to have you, Mrs. Calvin Shobi. Please unmute yourself and let's listen to you. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here for this important conversation. Thank you, Mr. Femi. I appreciate you. Thank you very much, and thank you for having me. My name has already been mentioned, so I wouldn't bother introducing myself anymore. We'll just go into the conversation of today. Today we'll be talking about intentional parenting, protecting the girl child from illicit substances, drug abuse, and what have you. We'll be exploring how these things affect these children, and then we'll also get to know that there's more to parenting than just answering the father or the mother of a child. You know, in Africa, everybody is a parent. In those days, they used to correct every one of us, but these days, nobody touches anybody's child. So when you even see somebody's child doing something, or you tend to look the other way because you don't want to be termed a bad person or a prognoser. Let me use that word. Now, this is more than a parenting challenge because taking care of a girl child or harnessing these things that happen in the society or curbing them is more than a parenting challenge. It's more like a community responsibility. And this community responsibility is what will lead to national safety. And these days we have our mental health reality. In this part of the world, we are still coming up in the mental health aspect because we deal with a lot of teenagers who will tell you, hey, it affects my mental health. You're not considering my mental health. Everything is about the mental health to the extent that they've overused these words. And these drug abuses happen closer home than most parents can even imagine. You know, we have most girls do not encounter substances because they are deviant or they are trying to be stubborn or they are trying to be rebellious. But they drift towards them because the world around them speaks louder than the guidance they receive at home. So today we'll be talking about real life stories, some that I've encountered, the ones that we have had to deal with over time. We will talk about current trends and psychological insights into how these things affect these girls, and then the practical steps on how every parent can help, guardian or community member can help and can start implementing some of these things easily. Okay, I'll start with a school I went to facilitate, and while I went to the school there, I work with Keeping It True Foundation too. We deal with education. So on Fridays, I go to some of these schools to teach or read a story to them. And on this fateful day, I think the topic for the day was marijuana. That was the topic on the comprehension in class that day. And the first question, this is a JSS3 class, not SS. And I asked, do you people know the meaning of marijuana? And they all said yes. And I said, okay, how many of you here have ever have ever had marijuana? And more than half of the class raised their hand. I was shocked. Some of them said their dad, like a particular boy said his father buys more than a rubber of marijuana. He uses it to entertain visitors, and then from there, he started giving it to them as tea, cooking it as tea for these children. That makes them strong. And just from there, he smokes it while he cooks it for his children. And from there, these children have started taking marijuana. When their father is not at home, they go, they steal some, and they smoke it. JSS3 students. I was shocked, and I'm like, I don't understand. So half of the class in JSS3 were already exposed to the intake of these drugs. Well, in African setting, we might say, oh, marijuana is not bad, it's medicinal, it's a herbal, it's a herbal medicine, you know. I heard a woman who said that whenever she wants to give birth, all she needs to do is just to take marijuana like tea, and then she'll just go and shit out the baby as if it's nothing. She wouldn't feel the pain. These are things that these girls are exposed to. I also had a classmate in the university. We were quite young when we were in the university, of course. And she was trying to be the best graduating student because she had pressure from home. And then I noticed that she can stay 9 hours reading. I asked her, she said, she started by chewing Lipton. She chews Lipton. It helps her to stay awake. You know, from chewing Lipton, she entered into other things that started helping her to read longer and manage all the whole burnout because she was doing business while she was schooling. Well, she came out as the best graduating female student during my set, yes, but that had a toll. It took a toll on her health. You know, till now she cannot even stop some of these habits she had cultivated while she was in secondary school. Well, hers was because she had pressure from home where she had to come out as the best graduating student. Well, she didn't make the best graduating student, but she made the best graduating female student by relying on drugs to read. Because from Lipton, she graduated to other things. You know. So we have young girls too who are always calm, quiet. We have a lot of teenagers. I have a lot of mothers who complain of their teenagers, how they become introverted all of a sudden, how they go into their shell, how they are no longer their friends. Some of them lock themselves up in the room. These days, we even put cameras in the room to know what our children are doing. But when the cameras are not there, when they are not in the room, you put the camera and they are outside, you wouldn't really know what these children do. And some of us just feel, oh, it's teenage phase, they will come out of it, it is normal. It is not always normal. Sometimes these children have been exposed to one form of thing or the other, sometimes at a party. Okay, a friend of mine, she's listening, so I took her permission anyway before coming out here. You know, her child was first exposed to substances. It wasn't even at a party, it wasn't even alcohol. It was just, she started with, I think, cough syrup. You know, they told her, oh, cough syrup can help you because she was overwhelmed with a lot of things. They told her it's not, according to the girl, that it wasn't something that would harm her. And of course, everybody would say, oh, cough syrup is not bad now. After all, when we were small, we used to take cough syrup, and they would just say, oh, it's something that we can just take. And that's how she got addicted. Before you know, she can swallow one full cough syrup at a stretch just for her to be able to sleep. You know, they made it sound normal, they made it sound harmless. Of course, when they're introducing these girls to these things, it's not just girls, it also happens to boys. But today we are just focusing on the girls. They will tell you, oh, it's harmless, oh, it's normal. I will talk about my own personal experience. I was around 13, 14. My mom had an accident, so we were somewhere in Okwani, Ndukwa area of Delta State, where she was receiving treatment. And that area, they use a whole lot of substances. Some of them even plant some of these things as fence. Some of them will tell you that, oh, it drives witches and wizards, so they use it as fence. So you find out that a whole lot of young people that are exposed to these substances, and then they start taking it. I know then they use it to cook beans, jollof rice and all that. And my mom will always want me, don't go and eat out. And then one day I visited a church member, and the person was like, oh, you can have rice, so, and I said, I don't eat out though. Then the other was like, it's better you don't eat though. There is this thing inside though. They use it to cook it. And I'm like, are you eating it? She said, yes, that it will not do her anything. She's used to it. And then the brother was like, it will not do you anything. You can just start, you can eat it. It's normal, it's medicinal, it won't cause you any harm. You know, they come with this subtle voice without you even knowing that these things are not good for you. Imagine if I had not had that kind of home training, that I was, you know, enlightened in all these things. That's how me too, I'll follow them and eat. And one thing will lead to the other, and I wouldn't even know the consequences of what I am doing. No, by the time you understand how deep these children have been able to depend on these substances and how it would affect them, it would have already shaped their daily life. You know, sometimes you recover from these things, but then the repercussions stay. Stories like this is what I just remember, and then I try to see how I can advocate or do my advocacy and enlighten children, especially those. I deal with mostly SS1 to SS3, but then we also extend it to those we feel that they need it, because most of the time girl children are being targeted earlier than ever. Most of these girls, they see them as praise. You know, they see them as prey. And if your child is not educated in that aspect, it's going to affect them negatively. In Africa or in Nigeria, for example, we don't discuss these things. Even to teach a child about sex even is like an abnormal thing. To enlighten them about drugs, we feel like they have not reached, they are still small. Sometimes we feel like enlightening them, we are the ones exposing them to it. But no, you are teaching them. When you teach them, you tell them both the good and the bad aspect of it. Let them know that, oh, when you do this, this is what you're going to experience. When you do this, don't go and try to shield them from these things, because you can't shield them from some of these things, especially with the advent of social media and all that. I will come to the social media aspect of it, because these days, social media even train your child more than you, the parent. You know, substances such as codeine, we have tramadol, we have molly, we have a whole lot of them are circulating even in secondary schools. I was listening to the NDLEA news this afternoon, and I was like, oh wow, so all these things are happening. They are even well packaged now. You know, some of them even sell it as candies. Even younger students now, we have some people that in JSS1, we had a boarding school in River State here, where they found out that they smuggle these things into the hostel. Now, in a boarding school, you don't have control over your girl child. These are girls' boarding schools where you have thousands of students in just one school, and these things are taking place. That's why WHO warned of recent that adolescents develop addiction faster because the brain reward system is still forming. Research has also shown that girls are twice as likely to use substances as a way to cope, whether with emotional pain, relationship struggles, low self-esteem, or peer pressure. This low self-esteem has led a lot of children to do things that they do not want to do, or on a normal day, home training will not even allow them to do. And then this low self-esteem too, from our interaction with students, starts from the home. You find yourself body shaming your child. Some students, especially the ones that are first daughters, you give them load that is more than them. A child is just 14, 15, and you already turn them to a mother. When the younger ones do something that is not even their fault, you blame them for it. You body shame them. On Wednesday, I was in a school, CSS here, and a child called me. I normally go there sometimes. I talk to them about their mental health, and all that. So I drop my number with them. Sometimes most of them are not allowed to use phones in school, but when they are home, they collect their brother's phone or their dad's phone and they call us. And you find out that some of them do not even feel good about themselves. A particular girl came and met me on Wednesday, and I was the one that called you some weeks back when we were meeting. I'm saying, oh, okay, what happened? And she was like, she feels she's too fat. Her mom is always insulting her in the house that she's too fat. So now she depends, her self-worth is dependent on her friends. Because her main problem right now is that at home she feels not loved, she feels she's too fat, and then she starts seeing less of herself. And that has made her now to depend more on friends in school. Now her main problem is her home one, which is not even her real problem from the conversation I had with her. Her real problem right now is how her friends in school see her. Now, those people now that she depends on, those friends in quote, she depends on in school to see herself in a certain way. When they tell her, okay, for you to belong or for you to feel among or for you to be part of our friends, you have to do this. She will definitely do it. Because right now her whole dependence is on those friends, because that is something she's not getting at home. While boys may experiment out of curiosity, many girls reach for substance because they are searching for connection, for comfort, for identity. Boys also do it too for egocentrism's sake and also to belong. But most girls do it because they depend on most people to feel good about themselves. So these are things we need to change. We need them to have a change of mentality. We need them to be complete on their own without being dependent on others to see themselves or to have their own self-worth. Now, in psychology, understanding this, it helps us to, be more intentional about our parents, because this substance exposure does not always begin with hard drug. For many girls, it starts with, oh, a friend they admire is taking this, so let them try it. A group that appears that exciting, they want to belong to that group. We have these digital influencers now who glorify escapism. Their way of escape, or what they use as a way of escapism from the depression, anxiety, and whatnot. They come online and they do these things. They don't even hide it anymore. You see somebody smoking whatnot on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook, and then for example, most guys that sag, that is because they saw someone that is their so-called mentor sagging, so they feel like it is the right thing to do. So also it applies to these girls. All of them have followers on or the people they follow or that mentor them online. They see these ones as their mentor, who they want to be like. Everybody now is cashing out with influencing, so they too, they want to start rehearsing. And when they see these people, they copy what these people do, and then they start rehearsing it too. I know of someone who complained that the mom called me and said that she caught her smoking one of these herbs. I think she was smoking marijuana. And I'm like, why? She said that a friend's sister that she admires was smoking. And her mom was there, and her mother did not say anything. So she felt it was cool to also smoke it. And the mother was like, that one is not my child. It is not my business. She has parents. So why do I have to correct her? Is that why she said she felt since the mother did not say anything or say it was bad or something, she felt it was cool to also take it. And the mom was like, hey, God, that is not what I meant. It's just that she has her own, the lady's mother was also there. So you don't expect me to start scolding her when her mom was there. But me, I'm not accepting it. That her parents accepted it does not mean I accepted it. And she said she didn't know because her mom didn't scold the other lady. She felt it was cool. That's how some of all these things start. Some of them start because something in the environment offers relief or belongings. Like I said before, a girl who feels unheard at home listens to louder voices outside. A girl who feels unseen gravitates towards those who provide validation. These days, everybody is all about validation. Okay. Of a fizzy and steez, according to them. On Snapchat, you see pills are exchanged for fun. On all these anonymous platforms, you see girls are groomed by dealers through direct messages. In clubs now, they share it. Some of these children are underage. That way, as I was speaking to the girls, I said some of you will want to increase your year of birth on social media because most of these platforms, you're not supposed to be there until you're 18, and many of them are less than 18. And because they have big body these days, you find out that many of them, they will go and increase their age. And then I told them that's more like catfishing. You cannot be increasing your age to do illegal things. Then you go to clubs and they start slipping these things into your drink and then start giving you molly and all that, and you're taking it and you're high and you feel, in fact, you have made it. You have arrived. It doesn't work like that. Some of them even come to parties, they don't even know who is organizing it. Some of these days you organize parties online without even knowing the organizer. Now, that's because technology has created environments where these children can be influenced, pressured, or even recruited by people their parents have never met. Your child will tell you, I'm going to see a friend, and you're asking, who is the friend? And you say, you don't know the friend, is a new friend. And you say, okay, oh, go, don't stay late though. Some people don't even know the address of the house that their children are going to. So there's something we also call digital parenting. It's now part of intentional parenting. You have to learn digital parenting. You must be aware of who your children engage with online. Let it be policing. So be it. Let them say you're policing. Yes, let it be policing. Especially that teenage age. I always tell parents, I say that teenage age, when they would, between when they would see you as the enemy and the bad person, and the age when they will get to know that you were actually correct, that space is very, very, very delicate. And whatever mistakes or whatever they do within that age is what will determine how they will turn out tomorrow. But you see that time that they see you, you're policing us too much, we're becoming adults, we have a say. That stage and the stage where they get to know that the policing was actually for their own good. You're actually correct. Thank God my mom did this. Thank God she reset my brain. That stage, those two spaces is very, very delicate. You have to also know the kind of content they consume. When my children are using the phone, I'll say, increase the volume of what you're watching. I want to hear it. They know me. I'll increase the volume. I'll tell you, increase the volume. Dial your phone, increase the volume. I want to hear what you are watching. So increase the volume. Which trend influences them. You have to know which trend influences them. The languages they pick, the apps they take most of their time, the apps that they look at more, the apps they download, all those things, you have to monitor it. It is not called policing. They will tell you it's policing, tell them it's protection, and that's because you care. It's not always dramatic. Sources involvement often starts quietly. You don't expect the person to come and start shouting. Some of these things, they do it, and they hide and do it. Then by the time the person does it for 1, 2, 3 years, probably they start when they're in secondary school, like those JSS3 students, I went to their class. Then by the time those ones get to the university, when they are no longer under you, only God will help them. Maybe they'll be the ones introducing others to it. Then we should also pay attention to signs, like how new she's even trying to get pregnant, she can't. You understand? So, but then when she was doing it, she felt she was doing the right thing. It was protecting her from getting drugged she's the dawn, and but today now she's having health challenges concerning it. She went into rehabilitation with Synapse Services, and to God be the glory, she's been detoxified, for some time, So, but it took a lot of and see a therapist. At the time, she didn't know it was an issue. In Nigeria, when you tell people you need to see a therapist, they feel like you're telling them they are crazy or they are mad. But then seeing a therapist has a whole lot of advantages. You don't have to be a mad person to see a therapist. So parents should also be open to bring their children for therapy or take their children for therapy in case if the substance intake has gotten to the extent that they cannot manage on their own. It's nothing of shame. We have people bringing their own wives for therapy. They will even tell you, I want her to stay in VIP room while she's going through her therapy sessions if they don't want the woman to be in the house. So it is not an illegal thing. It is not a bad thing. It doesn't taint you. It doesn't make you a bad parent. It only means that you want what's good for the person, Then we also have, when you have your children, they are desiring too much of privacy. Well, these signs do not automatically mean substance use, though, but they signal emotional changes that might require attention. Because sometimes children of these days, small thing, you can even see a child that can tell you that like this, he's depressed because his phone got spoiled. The way they manage their mental health now has become so delicate that sometimes it's more like a joke. But we had an SS2 student who just committed suicide of recent around this axis, and you'll be wondering, why would an SS2 student commit suicide? Something led to one thing or the other, and she took overdose of drug. So this issue even came up because we were teaching children on digital safety and digital violence. So a girl too who feels safe will speak up. Let your children feel safe with you. If your children do not feel safe with you, they will not speak up. If your daughter feels judged, she will hide. Once your child feels judged, they will just hide. They wouldn't tell you what they are going through. And also be vulnerable to them. If you're not vulnerable with your children, them too, they will not be vulnerable with you. I'll tell you about a friend of mine who lost her husband after a week of her wedding, a week or two after her wedding, and she was already pregnant. Like a week pregnant, she didn't know. So it was during the whole grieving period she found out she was pregnant and all that. Anyway, fast forward, she gave birth to the boy. But each time this boy asks, how are you? She'll say, I'm fine. Every time I'm fine. Every time I'm fine. And this is because I'm bringing this up because she started complaining to me that the boy is just too strong. He's always strong. He bears pain too much. And I told her, you taught him that. And she was like, how? Because anytime he will see you going through pain, but whenever he asks, you tell him you're fine. So him too, he felt going through pain and acting like you're not going through pain is a normal thing because that is what he has seen you doing over the years. So he too learned from you. So whatever you are doing, he's copying from you. He's seeing it that you're in pain, but you're telling him you're fine. You're not telling him, okay, I'm not actually fine. No, I'm going through this. So you just say I'm fine. So him too, when he's going through things, he will say I'm fine. And she said, oh, that's actually true. So she decided, okay, I'll try and be opening up. They might be kids, they might be younger, but then they see what you do. They learn more from what you do than from what you even tell them. That one is a basic fact. Sometimes too, our environment or our background can lead to these things. We have a situation of a man that committed suicide and left his wife with 4 boys. Now, these 4 boys grew up. I will relate it to the girls. These 4 boys grew up and they felt their mother had already gone through a lot. So whatever they are going through, they do not share it with her because they feel like it will be overburdening her with their own problems. And then depression is genetical. That's one thing people do not know. It can also be genetical. So not knowing that her second son had already inherited that depression that the dad had that led to him committing suicide. I got to know the whole family through the boy now. He is a computer engineer that was going through stuff like that. And then before we know, he went into substance abuse. He was abusing substances and the mother did not know. She wasn't even aware because he's always the introverted type. So at the point they were saying he's a nerd, but he wasn't being a nerd. He was going through a whole lot. So it was in the process of counseling him and helping him that we got to know about the whole family. I was there asking, what of your dad? You always talk about your mom. So these are things, if they feel like they're overburdening us or they will be judged, they would hide whatever they are going through. And we know that these things get worse. The longer it is, the worse it is. So hiding pain is not good at all. It's good to trust your children, yes, but there's a proverb in our place who says only the child that is inside your stomach that you can deny for. The one that is already out, you have to verify before you deny for the child. That does not mean you should doubt your children, but then you should also double check. You may not, most of them don't even start using substances at first. They might simply be spending time around people who do, and then from, I want to belong, I want to be accepted, I want to feel included. Before you know them too, they will start taking those substances. So always check their circle, because the circle has a way of, in fact, molding them to a different child that you brought up. Some of them start experimenting with weed. I think weed is the most common thing, and pills. And then tramadol. Some of them will say, I am body pain. I'm having body pain. They said I should take tramadol for body pain. Before you know, they start abusing it. I will say, but it's medically okay now. Then they start abusing it. Like one of them that had panic attack during WAEC, just because she was already on substance. She was an SS3 in a federal government girls college. She was on substances, and then because she wanted to pass her exams, and before you knew, one thing led to another, and she had panic attack. Substance use really begins with substance itself. It begins with proximity most of the time. Like I said, when they are close to people that do these things, then that's how it all starts with them. So it is also good that please, we try as much as we can to talk with our children. Let us start by talking with them. Let us speak with them. Let us also get to know them better. Intentional parenting is not just being protective, it's also being present. I know a lot of us who work these days, we are very busy, we are looking for money, economy is hard. Then we are looking for the money for, yes, we know all that. But it is also good to know when our children feel overwhelmed. When our children feel overwhelmed. And then we should also try not to trivialize how they feel or their emotions. Let us also know that the emotions are very valid. Whatever they are going through, it's very, very valid. We don't have to not spend time with them. Most of the time, we don't even spend time with these children anymore. We don't have the time. You understand? Connection is protection when it comes to intentional parenting. It goes beyond providing financially. It is about emotional presence. Let them know that some of these things they are doing, you said you have done it. Don't be a perfect parent. Just be a present parent. Let them see the shortcomings that you went through, and then tell them how you were able to overcome it or navigate it. I had a mother who was very vulnerable with me. In fact, sometimes when my late mom, when she's just thinking about herself, I'll be shy on her behalf. I'll be the one covering my face on her behalf. But that made me to be very open with her. No matter how bad whatever I do is, I will always tell my mom. And then she was never judgmental. It's not like she will not scold you later. But one thing I noticed is that she never used anything I told her to insult me whenever I do something wrong. She never did that. I can't remember her ever doing that. Never. She never did that. I know we are used to doing all that, but if I tell you something that I did that is bad, that you did not know I did, but I'm the one that told you that I did it as a child, and tomorrow I'll break plates, then use it to insult me, there is definitely no way I'm going to tell you what I did the next time, because I know you use it to insult me. So people will not only use it to insult you, they use it to insult you in everybody's presence. People that do not even know you did that kind of thing, everybody will get to know that hey, the other time you did this kind of thing. That child will no longer trust you. They will no longer trust you. So check up on them emotionally daily. Check in, ask your child how they feel. Not only what are you doing, have you read your book? It's good to read. But we have children that we spend a lot of money on, and then they turn out haywire because we were not there emotionally. Then gentle curiosity, when behaviors change, approach with care rather than accusation. We are fond of accusing. Let us try to approach with care rather than accusation. Then emotional intelligence skills. Girls who understand their emotions cope better with pressure. Teach them emotional intelligence. And as a parent, know emotional intelligence. When we are counseling girls in schools, especially in boarding schools, I deal with boarding schools a lot. It's a problem because I cannot get to the parent to tell the parent that this thing you're telling your child or the way you manage your girl child, it doesn't augur well with her. This is the kind of effect it is having on her in public when you're not there. So I always tell the girls, I cannot meet everybody's parent. I can't even get to most of your parents, but I can teach you how not to allow those things affect you negatively. So this intentional parenting, I think you should get to our parents more, because the value you place on your children is how they will also see themselves outside. One thing we have noticed over time is that all these things also revolve around how we see ourselves, how we perceive ourselves, our self-worth, inferiority complex. All these things revolve around it. Because if you do not depend on your friends or on people for validation at that particular age as a child, especially the teenage age, you will not want to do what they tell you to do. I also tell parents, teach your children how to say no without being apologetical about it or feeling bad about it. They should know when to say no and not feel bad about saying no to something that does not augur well with them or is not good for them. Then guiding friendships, know their friends' parents and the kind of environment they grow up in, know them. Build trust with them, calm responses, create safe spaces with them. Close the door to harsh reactions. We always react. Sometimes the child is not even guilty, you have reacted. So even when they feel guilty, they will say, oh, you have already judged me before. No problem. Let it be. I am guilty. And let us also know that raising one girl takes the whole of us. Parents of these days, including myself that I'm speaking, we don't like people scolding our children. We don't like it. I have 2 daughters, and sometimes when my husband wants to chastise them, I will literally have to enter the room because I cannot bear it. And then they will have to be looking at me. So sometimes, in order for me not to interfere, especially when I know they do something wrong, I will just have to leave the place. Because most of us now, we don't even want outsiders to even help us caution our children. You can defend them outside, but in the house, try to learn how to caution them. Parents cannot carry this burden alone. We need schools too to help us. Like the boarding schools, most of these girls, they stay in boarding schools for weeks, for months. We even need our pastors to talk to us about these things, or our imams, whichever faith we belong to, neighbors, mentors, safe spaces where girls can speak freely. We have counselors in boarding schools. When we were talking about the conversation, we're talking about mental health, and I raised the issue of confidentiality. Most of these girls, they do not come out because of the issue of confidentiality. Most of the boarding schools, the girls' boarding schools that we attend, I always ask, don't you have school counselors? Why don't you speak with them? And they'll be like, when they tell their school counselors, oh, this child, someone introduced me to Modio, somebody sneaked in drugged candies into school, or I took one, and I'm hooked, I don't know how to stop. They find out that before you know, from the school counselor, it will get to the staff room. You wouldn't even know it has gotten to the staff room. Then when you misbehave in class, the teacher that heard from the counselor would use to insult you in class. And everybody in class will know, oh, you are guilty of this offense or that offense. And that has made many of them, they don't even trust the school counselors. They prefer we that are outside that are coming to counsel them in school. Then let us also raise this community where people can feel safe and speak about these things, and also report when they see people that are going through this. We've heard of how NDLEA has seized large quantities of illicit drugs linked to youth networks, a lot of youth networks. They use girls a lot because they feel like nobody will suspect these girls. They are always looking innocent and nobody will suspect them. Girls aged between 15 to 17 are among the fastest growing groups in substance-related cases. And this is not good. Early exposure, too, has been found out to often begin between the ages of 13 and 15. That is why we deal with these secondary schools more. Because if we can capture these children in secondary schools, it will be a walkover when they are outgrown these stages. And then social media too is now a major recruitment channel. Like I said, a lot of them increase their ages and then open social media accounts. And it doesn't take a lot to know, oh, this is a child I can easily manipulate. It doesn't take a lot. These days on social media, for the past 1 month or so, I think most of the issues that you see on social media is about one person is into drug, or the other person is into drug, or the other one is abusing drug, or the other one is not abusing drug. That it is all over social media. And these are warnings that we should be able to caution these children. So what I would say is speak directly to every girl listening. Tell them you are seen. It doesn't have to be just your child. You don't have to wait for the girl to be your own child in order to help these children. Let them know that they are valued. Let them know they are stronger than their pain or whatever they are going through. Let them also know that they do not need substances to feel accepted, and that their future carries more promise than any moment of pressure. They need every reassurance they can get, more than control. They need reassurance more than control. There is this SAFE model we always use, SAFE. S, you say, see her. Notice what shapes her world. Let our children know that we see them. Let these girls know that we see them. Some of us, we brag about our daughters when they are not there, but when they are there, we bring them down. It is not good. Let them feel accepted both at home and outside. Then we have A, ask for invite. Ask her, invite on honesty, open conversations. Always ask, invite them to an open conversation. Let them also know that you are, in fact, I don't like it when parents are too perfect. It makes the children struggle too much. We are not helping them. So sometimes they feel like, I'm not meeting up, and then they start relapsing again. We have empower her. Teach her resilience. Let them know when to draw the line. Let them know boundaries, and let them know their self-worth. Then let them frame their environment, guide their friendships and digital exposure. There will be a time where you will no longer be able to control what they see or what they watch or what they consume online. Yes. But some of these things, now that you can be able to do it, make out time for it. Because some of these things are reinforced. And let us also be good example. Let us show good example. Some of us who don't show good example. Our own is do what I say, don't do what I do. It is not good. Like the boy now that that buys, according to him, is half rubber. He said it's half rubber of marijuana. What kind of child will you be raising when you're doing that? There are some habits you just have to stop. Maybe you're not willing to stop, but for the sake of your children and their future. Yeah, like a mother once said after her child nearly overdosed, she said, I thought I had more time, or I didn't know she was sleeping. I never imagined it could happen to us. Nobody imagines it. Nobody ever imagines it. We have children that have died from overdose because these things, they don't have any medical prescription. They don't know what to take and what not to take. They don't know which dose to take that is okay. So most of the time they overshoot. Most parents feel this way, but protection begins long before danger becomes visible. You don't have to wait for them to be into it before you start. Educate them the way you give them sex education. That's how you should also educate them about drugs, the consequences of taking drugs. Give them practical example. A boy, his father caught him smoking molly one day. Taking molly, one day. The father just put him in the car, drove him to psychiatric hospital, and just told him that he should go around and see some people there. And he said, this is how you might end up if you continue like this. And he said, God forbid. Father said, it's not God forbid. You have to. It's like this. This is how you might end up. I will quietly bring you to a psychiatric home. It's not even a problem. So let them know the consequences of these things. Some of them don't really know that these things can have such damning consequences. They don't know. So let us try to educate them. Intentional parenting, like I said, it does not demand perfection at all. It just demands you to be present. It demands you to be aware. It demands you to connect with these children. You should be able to be aware of what is happening with these girls. You should be able to have a connection with them so that it's not too late. It baffles me. It's just like some parents that I see and they will say, my daughter was pregnant. I did not even know that she was a 14-year-old is pregnant. You as a mother, as a father, you did not know she was pregnant until the pregnancy was 7 months as a parent. And then you're just saying it casually. How can your child be pregnant for 7 months under your roof and you're not aware? There must be changes no matter how that child hides it. That is how it is with substance abuse. These things happen right under our noses and we are not even aware. We can even take them for drug tests. We have facilities where they do these drug tests. So I would just want to encourage every parent to take deliberate steps. We have, let me just mention about 3 deliberate steps where we have a real conversation with your daughter today. Ask her how she feels. Not only what did she do at school. Let her tell you. Let her be able to tell you how she feels in case if she's going through anything. Then we have review her digital environment. Know what she sees and who has influence. Your child will definitely say it one day in the house. Somebody that is influencing them on social media. Some of them they will mention the name in the house. You would know. They can't hide it. They will always, you will notice that any news about that person, they'll follow the trend. They follow any news about the person. Then build a home where emotional safety is the norm. Girls who feel seen are harder to lure. Any girl that feels seen at home, that is loved at home, that feels complete from her father and her mother's house, she would always be difficult to lure. So when we protect the girl child, we protect generations. When we strengthen families, we strengthen societies. When we begin now, we prevent their future from being stolen. Now, intentionality is not just choosing your words and your actions or habits, but it is also knowing what to say and when not to say it. Like I talked about people that what they say to their children affects them a lot without them even knowing that it has that kind of effect on them. So please let us be careful of what we say. We have to be intentional about what we say. You have to know how to guide your children with clarity instead of guessing your way through parenting. Guide them with clarity. Do not guess or assume that you know them well enough to know what they are going through. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much there. Adia Ambassador Blessing Abosede, she's been speaking with us. You were almost wrapping up the whole time, but then I think we still have some time for questions and for interventions from other compatriots on the space. Quickly, before we get, I know quite a lot of people have been angling to come in to make contributions or ask questions. We'll be able to manage that within the little time we have left. But let me quickly acknowledge some of our compatriots joining us from across the world. I'd like to appreciate Dr. James Komalafe. Dr. James Komalafe is a senior member of this platform. We also have Dr. Abdul Wahab Abdullah. Dr. Abdul Wahab Abdullah is a consultant psychiatrist at the Ahmadu Bello University Teaching Hospital, Zara. Thank you, Dr. Abdullah. For always, we have Mohammed Waziri. Thank you very much. Funsho Jimo, Pascal Ewebo, Dr. Jonah Kolo. Dr. Jonah Kolo is a senior officer of the agency. We also have Gideon, I believe Gideon is joining us from the US. Thank you, Gideon. Femi, Victoria Elisha, Wuni Wuli Ganus, thank you. That's obviously joining us from Obumasho somewhere. Thank you. Adenike Bakari, thank you. Adeyeye Obi, Femi Aina joins us from the UK. Thank you. Prince Isaac, Mr. Wari Shop, Shah Solomon, Abdul Malik Yahaya, Uncle Deji, Yusuf Garba, Euphemia, Otu Ian Alan, Suleiman RSA, BJ, Victoria Ochechi, Awin Fledas, Awin Yaks, Malachi's update, Scope Man told me where Adesiyan, Pendas Global, Olani, Andrew, Damilare, Tahir, Ali, Salisu, Rita again, my colleague there. Thank you, Rita. Dem ATK. Let's take a pause here. We also want to appreciate all our compasses joining us via our Facebook page and our YouTube channel. We'll recognize all of you. Thank you very much. Okay, quickly, let's take interventions, reactions, and then questions while our guest speaker stands by to respond to any of the questions that may come our way. Okay, first let's take Gideon. I believe Gideon is ready for us. Gideon, if you are ready, please unmute yourself and let's have your contribution.
Yes, thank you everyone. Thank you all Nigerians. Yes, my name is Gideon. I'm speaking from United States. Yes, I'm always happy to be here because it will help us to change lives and make Nigeria a better place for all of us. Yes, regarding parenting and girls' child from illicit substance, yes, parenting is not an easy job, right? I have two daughters, under 10, and I know what it involves. Yes. Yes, parenting involves observation, being vigilant, and having a dialogue with your child, because that's how you find out when anything goes wrong. Yes. Regarding illicit substance, yes, anyone can be a victim. Yes. Your classmates, your neighborhood, your friends, your parents, friends can actually get you into using you know illicit substances. Yes. What is the cure and the remedy? By observing your child. Like the last speaker said, have a dialogue with your child. You will find out if anything goes wrong. In the morning, you ask them, how are you doing? How is today going to be? Are you okay? From there, asking questions, you will observe if anything goes wrong. Right? That's where the parenting comes in. But many parents ignore all these things. Right? They just wake up, they just shout at their children, are you ready for school? What is holding you? What is stopping you? Come on, let's go. You're late for school. I'm not going to work. And they forget to observe and listen to their girl child, right? I have worked with the correctional department, right? And I have that knowledge that most of the victims, mostly the girl's child, they hide their feelings. Most of the times, they shy from telling what is happening to them, right? And that's where this illicit, offense, maybe they have tested it, but the parents were not able to find out, right? So most of them are not able to say, I'm having issues. Most of them want to stay away from the parents. Most of them trying to hide everything they are doing. They don't want their parents to know because they knew that they are doing something wrong. But to say it openly, they are not able to say it. So now it's for you to pay attention, right? Be loyal. Ask questions every day, right? Don't fail to ask questions. Be a good parent. Be a good parent is not only giving money to your child or providing everything that child needs. You can see a child that can maybe at sometimes the child will just change automatically because the parent is not paying attention. Yes. What is the solution? Through rehabilitation, right? Rehabilitation is not only going to rehabilitation centers and friends, families, mom, dad, even brother and sisters can start their rehab by being calm, quiet and smooth. When you want to talk to them, you ask them, how is your day going? Is there anything I can help you today? Being quiet, and that's how to start that rehab. As time goes on, you will see that child will actually listen to you, right? Before me, I believe that punishing the child for doing something wrong will solve the solution. But the answer is no. You can punish that child, but the trigger and everything that encourages that child to do that thing will still be there, right? So punishing that child will not actually solve the solution. The solution is a dialogue, right? Talking to that child, and also going through institutions like NAFDAC, religious leaders, family friends, not by force. If you force them, it's gonna get worse, right? So it's the duty of the family members first to come in and calm down and talk to that child. Mostly the girl's child. It affects them mostly because they feel ashamed to say their problem. So as a parenting, you have to make it a job, right? Your job should be your children, mostly the girl child, because they're always the victim of everything that happens in the society, mostly in our country, Nigeria. Nobody pays attention to them. Most of our girls are suffering these illicit substances. Their parent doesn't care. They go to the market, they go to the job, they join politics, and they forget about the girl child. Yes, so the solution is dialogue, rehab, talking to them, and engaging them on daily basis. Don't shout at your child. Don't shout, hey, you done something wrong. I'm gonna do you this, I'm gonna do you that. If you do that, when that child goes out on the streets, it's gonna get worse. Yes. So
All right.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, dear Gideon. Thanks for your contribution always. Okay, let's take the next one because our time is fast running. We have less than 30 minutes left. Let's take Dr. James Komolafe next, and then we'll ask our guest speaker to respond to or speak to whatever the two of them would have said. Okay, please go ahead, Doctor.
Thank you so very much for very exciting time today, Ambassador Bosse, and for the question Gideon also posed. I think the fact of the issue that on the marriage day, wedding day, a certificate is issued. Many parents, especially young parents, just feel that since I'm already certificated, I know it all, which does not follow. Talking to your children may not be enough. Just like Bosse told us, you need to listen to what was not spoken in terms of their feelings, emotions, passions, even their imaginations. There are ways by which you can check that out. And that is why observation is a loaded content. And what we did in our own space is to break it down into 10 C's of emotional observation for intentional parenting as far as it has to do with your girl child and any other word underneath your care. And I think we'll give it to Mr. Femi for all parents to go through and check their levels of vulnerabilities and just like that. So what are the 10 C's quickly before I send it to Mr. Femi? The first C is contact. How close am I enough to my child, emotionally, mentally, and physically, to notice the shift in behavior, like Ambassador said? And then content. Where is she? What is she consuming? Media-wise, music, conversation, and then context. The third C, the circumstances around her, school life, social circles, and the rest. Then four, communication. the tone, the frequency, openness, and emotional flow in conversation when you begin to see the aberrant. Then number 5 is connection. The depth of trust, bonding, emotional intimacy with you as a parent and all that. Is it low connection that delivers higher vulnerability or high connection? And then you look at consistency, number 6. Sudden changes, sleep, appetite, routine, energy level, and even academic behavior. Then 7, company, a circle of influence in terms of friends, online community, what is it gravitating towards, and then conflicts. What are her personal conflicts, internally and externally? You need to be able to identify that. Then number 9, cravings. What are her cravings? What does she seek? When did it begin? And all of that. And last but not the least are the consequences. How she reacts to failure, discipline, mistake, pressure, shame, and all of those stuff. So when you put all this together as a parent, parenting is not a question of, oh, I've done it for 20 years, 30 years. You always see one thing or the other evolving, manifesting in this dynamic world we find ourselves, especially among the Gen Zs. So let every one of us sit ourselves down, take this assessment, and rate our observational capacity and intensity in terms of the emotional realities of these kids so that we can help them the earlier, the better. Thank you so very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. James Komolafe, for your fresh insights always. I will expect the material you said you promised to send, definitely. Okay, let's invite our guest speaker to speak to the contributions from the two gentlemen. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. James. I appreciate you. And thank you, Mr. Gideon. I appreciate you too. Your contributions are very, very important and has added so much knowledge to the conversation at hand. And, you know, training a girl child or the issue of substance abuse by the girl child in different parts of the world differs. Abroad, kind of, it differs from this part of the world. Children abroad have more freedom of expression, so they come out better. Not like it is 100%, but yeah, they have that freedom. But here we tend not to come out because of stigmatization, blame, judging us, and all whatnot, and because of our culture and the way we are brought up. You know, at least the Gen Zs now, they can even speak their mind. In those days, you dare not. You cannot talk to your parents about some kind of things. And some of our parents still train their children with that kind of pattern, forgetting that the world has evolved, the world has changed. In those days, we did not have the liberty to view all manner of things online, but these days they have. If you do not train them, social media will train them. And the worst part is that these children, they do not even know how to differentiate. Okay, this one is different from this. They just consume everything. And then the one that reinforces the things they settle for, they just go for it. You know, in psychology, the data says that over 14.4% of Nigerians aged between 15 to 64 report recent drug abuse. That's above global average. So here now we tend to downplay these things, but it is more serious here than even there. But we just pretend like these things do not exist. Just like we pretend like people do not overdose by drug abuse, and then it in fact leads to their suicide. A colleague of mine just died from overdose of drugs. A colleague, his burial is on Saturday, that's tomorrow. That's a man. No. Then we have a lot of girls who overdose and go through these things, and yet we pretend like these things are not problems or hey, it should not be. The thing is, it's like it's an abomination for us to speak about these things. We feel like, in fact, it's a taboo to talk about it. But if you don't talk about it, it will continue eating deep into these girls, and it will not be nice, because these adolescent girls are increasingly exposed through peer group, parties, trauma, and stress. Now, nearly 50% of teens who abuse substances show higher levels of depression, anxiety, and suicidal thoughts. They abuse these things thinking that it will calm them down, it will help them not to be overwhelmed. Another thing I found out from one focus group discussion I did was most people in some kind of fields that are usually on their own, even this, would I say, remote jobs now even help to foster these things. They don't go out. They are inside day and night. Some of them will just end up dosing themselves up. Some of them will say, I can't sleep well. I'm overwhelmed with a lot of things. And then they just take these things just to help them relax, according to them, relax and be on cloud nine. And then the emotional part of the brain for these adolescents and girls especially, the emotional part of the brain matures early. Then the part responsible for judgment and impulse control develops later. Then this makes teen girls more vulnerable to this peer pressure, emotional overwhelmness, curiosity, escapism, and then the desire to belong. So understanding this helps parents respond with empathy, not fear. We need to learn how to respond with empathy, not fear. And I think this message should get more to the parents than the children. Because if our parents can have or be well grounded in these things, they will be able to help their children. The way we teach them religious things, if we can take that same energy that we teach them religious things and then they grow up, and then they choose, I'm a Christian, then this one will say, I'm a Muslim. If we can just put 50% of that energy we put in religious activities into these children, I mean, it will help. It will really go a long way. I've seen a parent whose child is abusing drugs, and then they're taking the girl to church for deliverance. I don't understand. I don't know the part of deliverance in this situation. I don't understand. And I was trying to tell her that deliverance. She said, no, the child is too stubborn. He's always on drugs. Let him go to church. Let him go and deliver the girl. I said, hey, it will not do anything. This child needs therapy. And you need to show some empathy and help this girl through. Some of them will always tell you their parents, they did not disturb their parents, their child should not disturb them, they did not give their parents stress. Whatever you do, you're on your own. But it shouldn't be like that. Times have changed. Things have changed. I know drug abuse has been here for a very long time, but it is more now. It wasn't this bad before. Or maybe it was, but now we have things that bring it to fore. So parents should be very grounded in these things, and they should learn how to communicate. Communication is key. Learning how to communicate is one. Knowing how to communicate is another. And knowing when to communicate is something else. And the manner of communication matters a lot. Some of us do not know what to say and when to say it. We just voice it out. Then we don't even care the after effect on the child. We don't care what it does to them. It is not about being too educated or being a perfect parent, like I said before. Sometimes you might be a good parent, yes, but you don't even know what to do in a particular situation. So we should be well grounded in these things. So a lady that is well traveled, she travels everywhere, she's very intelligent, she's almost a doctor in her field and all that. She was always talking to a particular lady, and then one day the lady had to muster courage and told her that, Ma, do you know that of recent I started thinking of how to commit suicide because of the way you talk to me about myself? And she just said, they are spoiling you with this mental health nonsense. Now that is why you think of committing suicide. Nigerians are built to be resilient, so you have to learn how to be resilient and take whatever I throw at you. So if you want to commit suicide, that's your problem. And she was the one telling me what the lady came to tell her in the office. And she was repeating the same thing to me, that we are spoiling people with mental health advocacy, that Nigerians are built to be resilient. We are resilient people. Nobody said we are not resilient, but we are also human. So it would be nice if our elders and our parents can help us and push these things. Let it start from the home. A child that is from a home where these things, they're exposed to these things, their parents talk to them, they are more like their parents' friend. You'll see that even as little as having a boyfriend or a girlfriend, they will come, you will know, you will just know. Not the one that thinks I would have gotten spoiled before you will not even hear about it. No, it shouldn't be like that. So parents should try, because we have a lot of work to do as parents. I know the society has a lot to do too. Regulatory bodies have a lot of work to do. Internet and digital safety also has regulations too, and policies has a lot to do with this. But then we should start, because if you teach them how to sieve what they consume, they will know how to sieve what they consume. And we should also be vulnerable with them. If you've passed through any of these stages, let them know that actually, I've smoked before, I've done this before, but I noticed that it does this thing to me. It's not good for my health. Just let them know. And this is how I was able to manage it. So it's easier for them, or it's easier for you to relate. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much there, Ambassador Blessing Bossade. Okay, let's take, maybe just as we prepare to round up, just less than 15 minutes more, let's recognize more people quickly. Okay, we have TK. TK is a medical personnel joining us from Maryland, US. Thank you, TK. Dan Lawrence, thank you, Dan. Titus Theophilos, thank you. Kwan Design, Agazim, J Basic Academy, thank you. Okay, let's just tap on that while we continue with our conversation. Let me quickly take some questions from our DM, and then I hope we're able to take up to 2 or 3 questions, because our time is gone. Okay, this is coming from Babatunde. Babatunde is saying, thank you for the brilliant presentation, very detailed indeed. In the course of your presentation, you did mention digital parenting. Can we differentiate between digital parenting and intentional parenting? Is there any difference, or what in particular are you talking about on digital parenting? Because obviously I didn't hear you break it down. All right, that's from Babatunde. Please go ahead. Ambassador Blessing, please go ahead if you got the question.
Okay, digital parenting is guiding your children and protecting them as they navigate online spaces. It's part of intentional parenting. I spoke about it, I didn't mention it in detail because I was trying to work with time. Now, when you're talking about digital parenting, you have to blend it with traditional parenting. Okay, here is like controlling the apps they use, the people they interact with and chat with online, the contents they consume online. Then you help them to have screen time limits. Some of us, our children can stay on the phone for 24 hours. We feel like it makes them not to disturb us. We just carry phone and give them. We don't bother about what they are watching or what they are doing. So screen time, you help them to set this screen time limits. Then age-appropriate platforms. You should know the platforms and apps or things that are appropriate for the ages online. Then you have to set clear rules for sharing personal information. Teach them digital security. Teach them cyber security. Teach them digital safety too. But in order for you to be able to do this, you can also teach them digital life skills. Okay, you have to be able to help them to spot grooming, scams, cyberbullying, help them to manage that. Okay, and also how to protect their digital footprint and how to verify information before believing or sharing. You know, It also means being present, not policing every move, but monitoring them and protecting them. And then offer guidance, awareness, and protection to them. Then modeling healthy digital habits in their own life. Teach them how to manage their time, when to be online, when not to be online. Explain why certain online behaviors are risky. Open questions about their online daily activities, and then active communication. Build trust so they can come to you when they feel something is wrong. It's part of intentional parenting, but it is not intentional parenting. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much there. Let's take the next one from Moyo. Moyo also appreciates your presentation and wants to know how can parents identify early warning signs of emotional distress or substance curiosity in their daughters. All right, please go ahead.
Okay, how parents can identify, please come again, let me get you well.
Okay, how parents can identify early warning signs of emotional distress.
How parents can identify
early warning signs of emotional distress or substance curiosity in their daughters.
Okay, all right. Well, for you to be, when we're talking about this daughter self, it's just confusing me because I think boys also go through, but when we're talking about girls, how parents can identify it. First off, most of the time, the girl will be withdrawn. She will withdraw from you. You will find out that she becomes very secretive. If she is the type that if she comes back from school, she will just come and tell you how her day was and everything. You will notice that she will no longer be doing that. She will become very slippery or slicky. And then when you ask her a question, she most of the time, I'm just trying to be psychological about it. But because these things, there's no direct way of saying, okay, how you can affect, because some children can be very smart. They know you're used to them doing this, and they know that once they stop doing it, you start worrying, so they divert and look for another way. But you can, like I said, open communication, because the best way to really know where your children is going through is for you to talk to them early. Talk to them, open, let the communication be two-way. Let it not just be a one-way thing. Then you also notice that they will start avoiding eye contact. I notice that with my daughter, whenever she's doing something wrong and she doesn't want me to know, when I'm talking to her, she will be removing her eye. That eye contact will no longer be there. You understand? So if you have to study your child, every child is different. No two children are the same. You have to study your daughter, know the kind of person she is, know when something is off, and the kind of questions she would ask, the kind of things she'll be interested in, the kind of content she would be exposing herself to. From there, you will just get to know what her interest in, or if she's deviating. If you're the type that you're into drug abuse, you will not find anything wrong with somebody that is into drug abuse online. When they post something about the person, you won't find anything wrong. That's like these days, parents even monitor their children's comments on posts to know the kind of things they follow, and then get to know if they are deviating or if it's something that they have interest in.
All right, thank you very much there. I think we can still take one more question where we ask, read this question, then you, okay, let's quickly take Femi, let's take a contribution. Is it a contribution or question? Please go ahead, Femi, quickly before I read the last question in our DM. Okay.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity, NJD. It's actually a contribution. For intentional parenting and saving the girl child from illicit substances, I would say I have two contributions, and one of them is make sure your girl child, your daughter, or your girl child around is not a groupie. What I mean by a groupie is there's a popular saying that says, show me your friend and I will tell you who you are. For the girl child, because of how fragile they can be at times, most of the influences that get attached to them mostly come from friends. So I implore parents listening to this to check who the friends of their daughters are, because sometimes the girl child is likely not to make you see the friends that are the cause of the influence of some of the things that she's getting involved into. Because me, as a child, though I'm not a girl child, but when I wanted to get rid of substance abuse in my life, I had to do away with the friends around me that when I go to their place or when we are in a particular place together, they influence me with substance because sometimes you're not the one buying. Sometimes they give it to you free of charge. So I think that method too can also work with the girl child. Parents should monitor the kind of friend circle that their daughter or their child is into. And the other contribution I have to say is, speaking from my own experience, I am a child that was raised by a village. Raised by a village, I mean is I left my parents very early as I was 14, 15, I already left home in search of a better life. So all the experiences I have with me, even till now, are experiences that comes from people's mothers telling me, Femi, we saw you doing this one, we don't want you to do that, I don't want to see you there again, I don't want to do this one, I don't want to do that. So I learned from other people's parents' experiences. So I would say intentional parenting cannot be a one person thing because as a parent, no matter how good you are at your job, you are not with your child all the time. So it's better to listen to opinions of other elderly people, especially if you are in the same society that the contribution is for the betterment of your child. Listen to other people's opinions about your children sometimes. Don't give in totally do but learn to understand what other people are saying about your child because you're not always there with them every time. And don't just take their words too for granted. I think it's one of the ways to even make your own parenting easier because you go to work and during the time that you are at work or you are busy, you don't know what your child is doing. You don't know where your child goes to. I think that's just my own contribution.
All right, thank you very much, there, Femi.
Yeah.
Let's take the next contribution quickly. Dan, wrap it up in just 60 seconds. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, sir, for the opportunity to speak. I only have one thing to say, and that is, I hope you can hear me, sir.
You are very loud and clear.
Okay, I have only one thing to say. You see, the family or the parents are the gods the children see. You as a parent or you as an older sibling or just an adult around, they look at you, they know you, and they know what you do. Even though you think you're hiding the things you do, whether you're taking hard substance or you're being violent or they learn all of these things. So everything boils down to you or the adults around these children or this girl child to be conscious of what they do, to take time to learn about first themselves and their emotional well-being before you now say you want to take care of another child. So it is very important that to know this evening that children came to this world empty. Whatever they are doing is learnt from an adult. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you very much. I think let me quickly somebody is in okay, this is from Dean. Please, I need clarification on getting NDLA clearance. Where do I get it? Yes, I replied you, Dean, that just log on. There is a portal which is drugandvisa.ndla.gov.ng. When you go on the portal, you have all the information you need and the process. You begin the process from the portal. That's the portal I've just given you, drugandvisa.ndla.gov.ng. How long does it take for me to get the certificate? Depending on certain, but then it's not something that it's more than a week, certainly. And how much? Well, it required drug test, and then before the certificate, before you get to the visa clearance certificate. So I think the drug test the drug tests is a different cost and the certificate is a different cost. But when you go on the portal, you get to sort all the issues there. All right, thank you very much. There, our time is fast spent. Let's quickly wrap it up. Okay, let me just invite. I'm not able. I doubt if we'll be able to take any other contribution or questions. So let's invite our guest speaker to give her closing remarks, and then we will be drawing the curtain on the conversation. Please go ahead, Ambassador Blessing Bosede, for your closing remarks. With your closing remarks.
Oh, all right. Thank you very much. I appreciate all of you for staying till the very end. I want us to know a few things. That connection is better than protection. Connection with your children reduces risks more than punishment. We have homes that probably, if things were turned the other way, it would have been. And that the more emotionally safe a child feels at home, the less validation they seek elsewhere. And girls confine in adults who listen without judgment. A securely attached child is far less likely to engage in high-risk behavior. So, intentional parenting is a strong shield to help us call a girl child going into substance abuse. So please, let us try and be intentional parents to our children. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, there, Ambassador Mrs. Kevin Shubi Bosede, Blessing Bosede, a public servant, development communicator, and mental health advocate whose work is rooted in protecting the dignity, safety, and emotional well-being of women, girls, and young people. She is the founder of U-Hub Initiative and co-founder of the Citizens Alive for Peace Initiative, CAPIN, two organizations dedicated to social impact, youth support, public health awareness, and peace building. She's been with us in the past 2 hours. We appreciate everyone that have been a part of this, whether live on X Space here or on our YouTube channel or our Facebook page. Thank you, everyone that had joined us from across the globe. We appreciate your time with us and for doing this with us every week, every Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Local time. All right, this is how far we can go today. Once again, we appreciate our guest speaker for her time and the brilliance with which she delivered her presentation today. Would also like to appreciate Dr. James, Gideon, Femi, who else there? Okay, I saw Mr. Femi Aino tried twice to speak, but I guess his network was not. Mr. Femi Aino was a guest speaker the last time, and he joins us from the UK. Unfortunately, I approved his request, but he couldn't come on. He was struggling with his network. Just know that it's not from here. We approved your request to speak, but then I believe your network was not good enough. All right, I would also like to appreciate my colleagues on this side. I'm talking of Rita, Francis, Dele, Mahmoud, Netta, and who else is there again? That's Phil. And all of you guys, everyone that have been working with me behind the scenes, thank you very much. I may not be able to mention everybody's name, but you are all well appreciated. Until we come your way next Friday for another interesting conversation. Okay, thank you very much, Itohan also. Itohan leads our radio section. Thank you very much, Itohan, and members of your team also on that side. Until we come next time, I'd like to again remind us that it's Friday, but then let's not lose guard. Let's avoid all those things that could leave permanent scars on our lives. Let's stay safe and be good, patriotic Nigerians out there. I leave you in the hands of my colleague, Mahmoud Na, as would say, good evening, goodbye, and have a wonderful weekend. Thank you.
Thank you very
very much, sir. Mr. Femi, the NDLA's Director of Media and Advocacy, for guiding us throughout today's program. For more information about the NDLA, our listeners can visit our website www.ndla.gov.ng. Our social media platforms remain at NDLA_Nigeria. On X, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. On Facebook, it is at NDLA01. Do join us same time next week for another edition of this wonderful program. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
I'm not staying away to my body. Is it your body? I'm saying, take my body, I'm in the head, oh,